updates coming in from the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court is now observing its opinions on the presidential reference on Bill's assent timelines. Chief Justice of India B.R. Gavai has outlined the court dispute before the Supreme Court as it delivered its opinion on the powers of governors in clearing the state bills. The CJI clarified that governor has no power to solicit or withhold. Therefore, discretion so conferred cannot allow him to hold bills in perpetuity. And the three clear options he has is to either grant assent, withhold assent and return to legislature with comment, or refer it to the president. He has discretion in choosing any of these three options. Although the Supreme Court held that governors cannot indefinitely block state bills, it refused to set any time limit for governors and the president, saying that doing so would be against the separation of powers. The Chief Justice said the first question was how many options the Constitution gives a governor when a bill is presented. And the submission is that the text is explicit. Upon presentation, the governor can assent to the bill or can withhold, therefore, or reserve for the president, he said. And according to one interpretation, the CJI noted the first provision according to this submission is an additional option, making to the total of 4 options available to him. Now, the opposing view, he added, was that the governor has only 3 choices: withhold, assent, or probably send it back to the assembly. And if the House passes the bill, the governor is bound to assent it. He said the second interpretation is to bind the first provision, in which the governor is given 3 options. In that view, governor can assent, reserve, or withhold therefrom and return to the legislature. And when passed, the bench also clarified that a 4-option reading would apply only when the legislation is not a money bill. This is what the Supreme Court has observed so far in its comments, and today's opinion of the Supreme Court marks a significant clarification on the constitutional powers of governors in relation to the state legislation. In fact, Chief Justice of India B.R. Gavai has outlined the core dispute clearly when a bill is presented to the governor. What exactly are his constitutional options, and can any of those options be exercised in a way that allows a bill to be stalled indefinitely? And the Supreme Court has said that the governors cannot and have no power to solicit or withhold a bill in a manner that leaves it pending in perpetuity. And the CJI made it very, very clear that discretion cannot be interpreted as a license to hold bills in perpetuity, and the governor must choose from the options that the Constitution actually provides. We have Sabyasachi joining us live. Sabyasachi, help us understand the latest updates coming in from the Supreme Court.
Well, Deepak, see, let me put it in simple words for viewers to understand what the Supreme Court today has said. Now, the Supreme Court has said that the governor has only 3 options, that is assent, reserve, or return. Now, the second point which the Supreme Court has said, that he cannot withhold assent without returning the bill. Now, the third important point that the Supreme Court has mentioned says that the governor normally acts on aid and advice with limited discretion. Now, the most important, Article 200 gives him discretion only in specific and narrow situation. Now, no time limit can be imposed. It's what the Supreme Court clearly stated because of the previous judgment that had come in from the 2-bench judge from the Supreme Court, setting a timeline of around 3 months to the governor of Tamil Nadu. Now, the Supreme Court itself has called it as unconstitutional and clearly stated that no timeline can be fixed as far as the governor is concerned, and deemed assent is not allowed. So these are the main important points which the Supreme Court clearly has said, because what the Supreme Court meant is that there is no fixed timeline for the governor, but the governor does not have 4 choices, but the governor has 3 choices. Either the governor gives an assent to the bill in case, or the second option that the governor has is reserve the bill, or third option that the governor has is to return back the bill to the legislation. Now, the governor clearly cannot sit on the bill for an indefinite time, because that clearly cause problem as far as the state legislation is concerned, which time and again has been highlighted by the non-BJP ruled states. Now, when we are talking about the reference, time and again we had seen that the non-BJP ruled state government in fact have raised a question on the reference, stating that there is a lot of delay that happens, that causes a lot of problem as far as the bill is concerned. So they have time and again raised their voices against the reference of the bill. But the Supreme Court giving the direction clearly gives 50-50 advantage to both the parties. Now we'll see how things pan out later. But as far as the Supreme Court advisory or opinion is concerned, it is very much clear that we cannot set a time limit as far as the governor is concerned. But the options that a governor has is limited to only 3 options.
That's right, Sabyasachi, and the Supreme Court's observation, in a way, is a much-needed relief for opposition-ruled states. But the most important point here is that the Supreme Court hasn't really set any timeline for these, bills to be cleared by the governor. So the, friction between the government and the governor will continue to persist.
Well, that's right, Deepak. See, as far as the friction between the government, between the state government and the governor is concerned, is going to happen because, as the Supreme Court clearly stated, that no timeline is fixed. But the governor has only 3 options. Now, the Supreme Court very clearly, in their opinion, have pointed out that the governor cannot indefinitely sit on a bill. Now, if the governor is not happy with the, if he is happy with the bill, give an assent. If he is not happy, he wants it for reference, he can send it to the president, but if he has problem, then he has to return back the bill to the legislation. Now the governor has only these 3 options, and clearly the Supreme Court stated that they cannot set a time limit as far as the governor is concerned, because there are certain flexibility under the constitution which the governor has, so that cannot be encroached. See, that very point has been mentioned by the by the central government as well, by the when they were giving about the reference that came in from the president, that the court, that the Supreme Court or any other court cannot encroach on when it comes to the constitutional right of the president or of the governor. So looking at all the circumstances, the Supreme Court clearly stated that no time limit can be set, but the governor has 3 options which he has to aid by, and that's all the Supreme Court had to say. But clearly it's I would say it's a win-win situation for both the state government as far as the governor is concerned. Rest, the friction is definitely going to continue. There's going to be a lot of debate from now. We had already seen that how things pan out between the Tamil Nadu government and the governor, and the entire thing started in the month of April when the judgment verdict came in from the Supreme Court that the 3 months timeline would be given to the governor of Tamil Nadu to give his assent on the bill. So that has transpired, but the Supreme Court in their advisory have stated all these points. Remember, this is just an advisory and opinion. These are not mandatory rules. These are advisory and opinion that has been laid down by the Supreme Court.
That's right, Sabyasachi. Now, the Supreme Court has said that the imposition of a timeline violates the Constitution, and it also refuses to set the time limit for governors and the president, because the Supreme Court has said that governors cannot indefinitely block state bills, but it has also not, issued a particular timeline. We also have Rekha Agarwal, a senior advocate of the Supreme Court, joining us live on this broadcast. Rekha, how do you look at this, opinion expressed by the Supreme Court without a set timeline for the governor or the president?
I would put it in this manner, as your reporter has rightly reported, that the Supreme Court opinion is more like an advisory in nature. It is just an opinion. It's just an opinion of the Supreme Court. There are no directions. There are no rules that, such as there's no mandate from the Supreme Court. So I think that what I would, in a simple language, put it that it is like a wake up call, to the governors, for not sitting indefinitely on bills. Though Supreme Court was treading, I would say, on eggshells at this moment, and making sure that it does not tread into the territory into which it is not supposed to do. There cannot be any interference into the executive by the judiciary, and both powers are separate. But at the same time, as the Supreme Court has observed that if a wing of the democracy is not doing its work in the manner it should be ideally be doing, then the courts cannot sit idle. They cannot be mood spectators simply on the ground that we do not have the power to interfere. So judicial scrutiny can always be there, and I think that is more like a wake up call. And if even though a timeline has not been set, now I wish a timeline had been set. Yes, but if the court does that, then it is that, again, as I said, that doing a job or interfering into a power which it does not have. So I think that if in the manner in which the Supreme Court has so beautifully given its opinion, which is more like an order, I would say, more like it's not, it's only a direction, not an order, because it cannot give an order. It cannot direct the governor that you have to do. Do's and don'ts cannot be there. But the very fact that the court has very beautifully said that you cannot be just sitting indefinitely on something. Discretion, if discretionary power is vested in anybody, particularly a wing of the democracy, discretion can never be unfettered. Discretion has to have checks and balances. So if even if the governor sits indefinitely, definitely it may reach a point where the Supreme Court may have to interfere. There can be judicial scrutiny because, as I said, discretion should be exercised in a manner which inspires confidence. The governor cannot just sit indefinitely on something that, oh, I have the discretion. So for a number of years, if the government is going to be, any party is going to be put in a limbo, that what happens, the governor has yet to give its assent, or yes, no, or maybe, so such kind of a situation which is going to keep everybody on tenterhooks and is going to leave everybody in a dilemma. The Supreme Court has very beautifully and very politely, I would say, and very diplomatically, given its opinion. Now it's up to the governors to take it in the right spirit. As they say, it's like it's a pat on the back. It's like a knock at the back of your shoulder, that you please do your duty. We don't want to kind of warn you, but please do your duty in time, so that the confidence remains that yes, the governor is not just a rubber stamp. The governor does have its powers, and the governor does have vast powers, which it should exercise in a manner which makes the democracy run in a healthy manner.